In the spring of 2020, Minnesota, like the rest of the country, shut down almost overnight. Schools closed. Jobs vanished. Parents worried not just about rent or health care, but about something more basic: how to feed their children. The federal government responded with speed and urgency. Emergency programs were expanded. Rules were loosened. Billions of dollars were released to states with a single purpose: help people now, ask questions later. In Minnesota, one of those programs involved feeding children who could no longer rely on school lunches. Nonprofits were allowed to step in, serve meals, and get reimbursed by the government. It was a system built on trust, and trust, as it turned out, would be its greatest weakness. At the center of the story was a nonprofit few people had heard of before the pandemic: Feeding Our Future. On paper, it was a mission-driven organization dedicated to ending child hunger. In practice, federal investigators would later say it became the gateway to one of the largest fraud schemes in U.S. history. Before COVID-19, Feeding Our Future handled a few $1 million a year. Then the pandemic hit. Suddenly, reimbursements exploded. Tens of millions, then hundreds of millions of dollars flowing through a single nonprofit at astonishing speed. Restaurants with no history of feeding children were approved overnight. Newly formed organizations claimed they were serving thousands of meals a day, sometimes more meals than there were children in entire neighborhoods. Paperwork was thin. Oversight was overwhelmed. Inside state agencies, some employees grew uneasy. Numbers didn't add up. Meal counts seemed impossible. Locations listed as feeding centers appeared closed, empty, or non-existent. But stopping the money wasn't easy. Every delay risked being accused of starving children. Every denial risked lawsuits. The pressure to keep funds moving, no matter what, became overwhelming. Behind the scenes, federal investigators would later say something darker was happening. Fake invoices, fabricated attendance sheets, forged signatures. Entire networks of shell companies appeared to exist solely to extract money from emergency programs. Luxury cars began showing up in parking lots. Homes were purchased in cash. Bank accounts swelled. All while children the programs were meant to help saw no change at all. The fraud didn't happen quietly. It happened in plain sight. The breaking point came when federal agents stepped in. Search warrants were executed across Minnesota. Homes were raided. Bank accounts were frozen. Boxes of financial records were seized. What prosecutors revealed stunned even seasoned investigators. According to federal indictments, Feeding Our Future and its network of operators fraudulently obtained more than $250 million, money meant to feed children during a national emergency. The scale was staggering. Some defendants allegedly claimed to serve thousands of meals per day from single locations. Others reported feeding more people than lived in the surrounding zip codes. And it wasn't just one program. As investigators pulled on the thread, the fabric unraveled. Fraud allegations spread to housing stabilization services, Medicaid billing, autism support programs, childcare reimbursements. The same names appeared again and again, moving from one public program to another, exploiting systems with minimal barriers and weak verification. Court filings described a web of conspiracies, kickbacks, and money laundering. Defendants were accused of wiring money overseas, buying luxury vehicles, and living lavishly, all while claiming they were serving the vulnerable. This wasn't desperation. It was design. As arrests mounted, Minnesota found itself at the center of a national firestorm. Some asked how this could happen at all. Others asked who allowed it. Politicians pointed fingers. Federal officials blamed the state. State leaders blamed federal rules that prioritized speed over safeguards. And then came the deeper, more uncomfortable debate. Many of the defendants charged in the Feeding Our Future case were Somali Americans, triggering inflammatory rhetoric online and in political circles. Community leaders warned against turning a criminal investigation into a cultural indictment. They argued, correctly, that fraud has no ethnicity. But the damage was already spreading. Legitimate nonprofits found themselves under suspicion. Daycare centers were scrutinized. Federal agencies froze funding, impacting families who depended on childcare to work. Meanwhile, prosecutors continued filing charges. Dozens of defendants pleaded guilty. Others went to trial. Some received sentences measured not in years, but decades. One defendant was sentenced to 17 years in federal prison. Still, questions lingered. How much money was really stolen? How many programs were compromised? How many warnings were ignored? And perhaps the hardest question of all, how many people who needed help never got it? Because someone else took it instead. The Minnesota fraud scandal is still unfolding. More charges are expected. More audits are underway. Oversight rules are being rewritten not just in Minnesota, but across the country. What began as a mission to feed children during a crisis has become a cautionary tale about what happens when urgency overrides accountability. Emergency systems saved lives during COVID-19, but they also revealed how easily compassion can be exploited. This is not a story about one nonprofit, or one community, or one failure. It is a story about what happens when money moves faster than oversight, and when trust is assumed instead of earned. And long after the courtrooms empty and the headlines fade, one question remains. How do you help people quickly without giving greed the opportunity to move even faster?